RC fans, Racing 393. So with my, I have these harebrained schemes, and what I decided to do, and it's taken hours, so I will try and condense this down into a much shorter video, to be honest. Again, with Assetto Corsa, what I decided to do is use the tools that I have available. I'm going to take a 1994 F1 Williams Renault, as you can see here, driven by Ayrton Senna and Damon Hill. I'm actually going to be in the Damon Hill car, and we're going to take it around Imola, 1988 version of Imola, but using all the data tools that I have from SimHub, any of the internal apps within the game, and any external apps that I happen to use. It's all, to be honest, it's mainly through SimHub. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile some spreadsheet and some data, and we're going to find out whether or not these adjustments that you can make in game make any difference whatsoever. Some people say smoke and mirrors. Other people believe in what they adjust makes a big difference, and it's not a placebo effect. Now, there are various games that do it a lot better than others. iRacing, for example, in my opinion, works if you've got the time and you patience and you know what you're doing. You can adjust setups to your heart's content, and there's people out there who do a very good job and sell their wares, as far as I believe. There's others, a little bit like myself, when it comes to racing online. I haven't done that much in recent times. I tend to go for the fixed setup, and I must admit, I'll jump into a car. My first impressions will be a stock version of it. I'll take it straight out of the box and give it a go, which is how it should be done. This particular car is come from, so this does come from a French company. AC F1 League. F1 League. Yeah, I think it's F1 League. It must be how they. I can't speak French anyway. But anyway, that I've got. That's where I get them from. Now these cars, I will say, they're not the most greatest out of the box. So, I mean, I have been in them before. I was a little bit disappointed in how they drive. It's not, you know, you expect them to be like a bit, you know, stuck to the track and straight out the box, plenty of grip, and you can just jump in and play. You know, there's nothing's too hard about that. So I was hoping that's the case, but they weren't. They're not like that. In fact, all the cars are a little bit, what I think, just haven't got the grip, especially when you come from other mods and then into these ones. So anyway, that was my thought process. But yeah, I've got a replay. It's going to be a bit more of a theory and theoretical data video, to be honest. We'll have a look at the car in game, a few of the stats. We'll look at my spreadsheet, show you what I did, and how I got to where I got, and we'll go from there. So okay, we'll jump out of here and we'll go in game to look at the car. So this is the Williams Renault F1 FW16. We are Damon Hill's Williams Renault FW16B, built in 1993, but for the 94 season. And when they came out, his teammate was Ayrton Senna. Now we all know what happens in 94, so we won't go into that. But we'll look at the car, and it's very, very well made. The render here is very impressive. You can zoom in and you can see the detailing there is incredible. So yeah, it looks the part. It looks exactly like how I think it would look like. You can see like the carbon fibre, the diffuser, tyres, the Brembo calipers, discs, front and rear. You can zoom in, and even the mirror's got like reflections of the bodywork in the mirror. You know, and it moves when you move that around. Very impressive, if I'm honest. So we're going to take this car around Imola. Let's get in the car and we'll show you the a lap. So here we are doing the replay. I'm going to show you the lap I did, the final lap. It was the quickest lap that I did. I don't think there's a lot of point in showing you the laps prior, because some of the advantages that I made through setup is so incremental. It's not something which I feel is worthy of showing you what 5/10 looks like on this way of doing it. If I had like a head-to-head, you can probably, that would be an option, but that's a little bit involved and probably a little bit beyond what I'm capable of doing, to be honest. A side by side. So this is the lap that I did. I'm going to do it in slow motion. I might do a little bit of the lap without comms, so because this car sounds incredible around this track, and I want you to experience that as well as I do. So here we go. We're just going starting the start-finish line. So I had done quite a lot of setup changes, as you'll as you'll see. One of the main ones that I felt improved actually on this run was lowering the rear end a little bit, and I think that shows with a little bit of it wasn't doing that on previous runs. The car wasn't grounding or sparking out, but it seemed to do that a lot more on this run. I lowered the rear about, what was it, 2 millimeters, something like that, and it seemed to improve. I think that was probably one of the major improvements I feel that I did. So as you can see here, we're coming down around Tamburello, 94, bit poignant, I suppose. And we're coming just around Villeneuve, which is this corner here, and then we're coming around the Tosa hairpin. It's always very difficult to get right, and I've gone very wide there on this run, which was my quickest run. We don't have to hug the apex on Tosa. It's not necessarily the quickest way round. We're going to go up the hill. I think this is Variante back. No, what's this one called? It's coming up on my screen in a minute. It's one of my favourite corners. It goes up the hill, then it's a sort of a double left. It's got a blind entrance. Oh, the Piratella. I mean, the names on Imola are very iconic, and I every single one of the corners is iconic in its own way. Yeah, the Piratella, you can run a bit wider coming out on that curb there, and then we're coming down to the first right, left, right chicane, and it's just getting the braking right here. I had altered my brake bias, and this is the Acqua Minerale. A lot's changed on this circuit since. Well, it's an 88 variation of Imola, a 94 spec F1 car. They probably did. Well, they did. I mean, the 94 cars raced on this particular variant of Imola. Yeah, I'm not. There might have been some subtle changes here and there, but I'm not aware of them. So we're coming up over the hill. Loose traction coming up over the hill there. Even this car, it still suffers some lack of traction. And we're coming up to the first chicane, which we're coming in. This is the Variante Alta. Not to hit too much curb is the secret here, which I sort of just. There's a little bit more room there, but I didn't want to upset the car on the corners. And then we're coming down to the downhill. The braking downhill here is very tricky. If you want to be late on the brakes, very tricky to keep the car from running wide. You go under the bridge. You should keep it to the right hand side of the track, left as you look, and then braking in a straight line for the Rivazza. The first left is very tight in. You can run a bit wide on exit, but maybe not that wide. I mean, I was trying to use a little bit of the curb. This one's a bit more smoother, and trying to use the exit as smooth as possible because it's very easy to spin, I find, on that particular corner. That was not a bad line. And we're coming into the last chicane, which is a very fast right then left, taken in, I believe, third gear, Variante Bassa. Maybe third gear, yeah, in these cars, the third gear. And into the very final chicane onto the main straight. It's a nice sort of, without hitting too much of the curbs. And onto the main straight to complete the lap. Now, the car on this run did feel better. It was, in my opinion, an improvement. So, when I first drove the car, there's absolutely no way I would have got around the track on that kind of commitment what I was doing. It wasn't, and I'll be honest, there's still a long way to go. But for a treat, what I'm going to do now is just show you the lap at normal speed so you can appreciate the sound of this car. I think you deserve that at least. So I'm just going to click just here, and I'm going to push play, but I'm going to take a sip of coffee and sit back and in awe myself just listen to this Renault V10 coming out of the Williams FW16B. Right, enjoy. there you have it. That was a lap of Imola in FW16B Williams Renault V10 as driven by Damon Hill. We're still working on the setup, so hopefully I'll have another update of this video, to be honest, of hopefully getting ever so slightly closer to maybe the lap that Damon did during the race. It's not in qualifying setup, so I can change that if I wanted to. I'm trying to get a lot closer with the standard race setup. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and that was certainly fun. I enjoyed it. It's a lot more time consuming than just sticking a game on and doing a few laps. If you've got a meaningful goal, and just to say that, you know, it's not always smoke and mirrors. I suppose there's going to be still some skeptics out there, but things do improve when adjusting, you know, in-game settings. I'm not saying they all work, but yeah, so far so good. So anyway, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Hope you like listening to that engine, and I'll see you next time. This is the geeky bit, if you like. This is the information that I was compiling during my test sessions. It's quite long-winded. I'm going to explain to you how I got there. Now, all this information, all the times that you see, were pulled from the data from SimHub. You can go into SimHub and you've got statistics, which you can input to Excel, which you can see. I'm going to try and move. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Hopefully you can see something. You can see all the data here is from what I pulled in from each session that I did. It depends on how the car felt, of how many laps I did. Now, incidentally, on the first session, because my first attempt, there was like 15 laps that I did, so I just pulled in the sort of the quickest. Got my opening lap, and then I did some other laps, but that was my quickest. And this was the car straight out the box. There's no adjustments, just as it was out of the download it as it were and try it. Now, I honest with you, it was really twitchy and loose, and you can see there that I've put on the feedback, so I know loose on power, and that's the adjustment I did. Now, the adjustment, I'll come on to that in a second. I've got a program which I'll show you, which helps you with what adjustments to make. So I did some laps, it was loose on power, and that's sort of, at that time, the lap that I could generate out of the car. So on and so forth. So we did a few more laps here. Session 2, did some more adjustments, went down even softer with the rear anti-roll bar, and that's all I adjusted. So some of this could be where you get used to the lap, used to the sim, where you adapt, so it might not be directly affected by these. I'd just like to say that at this point. The third session didn't have any improvements. In fact, the quickest lap time there was 1:36, so it was off. So that's probably driver ability there. The fourth session, we started to do with softer tyres, altered the brake bias and changed the tyre pressures, and we got an improvement. So you can see by the lap times are slightly more consistent, not such a big variant in lap times, but more consistent. And then it started to go, the car slides under hard acceleration, and again a couple of more adjustments, and we've improved again. So this time here, 130.607 would have never been, I would never have been able to get that here. The car I could feel the car when I was driving it. I was at my kind of safe limit on the car. The car tends to, the reason I chose this car was because it wasn't perfect. I felt that it didn't have as enough grip as a Formula 1 car should. So that's why I sort of picked it to see if it's broken, as it were, or you can change it with setup change to see whether or not it is all smoke and mirrors. So that's the sort of time there. Then we've got the 6th session, and we've got it down below 129. We are doing sort of longer stints here, more consistent times, as you can see. This is where I sort of lowered the rear height by 2 mil. The rear end is still unstable at this point, but it's improving. It's definitely, I can say from here, from what I've done, all that, and I've got to this point, is an absolute miles different from here. The car could not be driven quickly, even if, you know, I think this is more of a ballpark area. That's probably because I haven't played the game for a while, I'll be honest. But this is kind of where I was at. I did enough laps here and here that I felt that I could get the maximum out of the car at that time. And as you can also see, I've highlighted through the racing the sort of the 3 quickest sectors. So as I've improved later in the sort of the setup, the quickest sectors at the moment are sort of the most recent sessions that I've done. And what I've done up here, another geeky situation, but if I put all those sectors together, which means the car can do that, and it's me that can't, that's an optimal lap time, and that's where I am at the moment, away from optimal, 0.3 of a second. So it's not bad, it's quite consistent. And you can see here the difference in lap times as it's come down. So there's a massive change here. This is probably, that's me getting used to the sim. 3rd session didn't improve. The 4th session was half a second quicker. We had quite a big jump here, 1.5 seconds. So that's, again, it could be a little bit improvement by myself, but the car was easy to drive and started to get even easier again. Now, another interesting feat here I'm trying to achieve. These are the lap times in real life. So Damon Hill, it says 5 laps, but on the 5th lap, during the race, lap 5 I should say, a 1:24.3. We're miles away. Even their optimal is miles away from that. And Senna in qualifying a 1:21.5. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that. I would like to think if I had more grip, because the car does lack grip on the back. I'm going through stages bit by bit to see whether or not it makes an improvement. Now I know there's many of you out there that could go into Assetto Corsa and probably click this, click that, and I don't want to sort of, you know, I'm hoping that I don't find out that the game's broken. And what I mean by that is if you do some weird setting in the setup in the garage, something you wouldn't normally do, the car's stuck to the tarmac and goes round quick, so an unrealistic change makes the car quicker. I'm hoping that isn't the case, but I don't know. It's so far it's going in the right direction, so I will continue with my findings here. And I will update probably with another video. I won't need to go into quite as much detail, but there'll be a quick update on the geeky bit on the spreadsheet, and then maybe the lap recorded on Assetto Corsa. So far it's all working. So yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's just, I like this. I mean, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but anyway, it kind of goes and shows you what involvement you can do with a sim if you want to. It is involved. This took me quite a number, but 2 or 3 hours to get this far. I've only made this spreadsheet up myself. It's nothing special. But yeah, so I'll look forward to the next few sessions when I get this done to see an improvement, and hopefully we'll get a bit closer to Damon's time there. Maybe I think that one is probably achievable. This one I doubt it. I mean, that's just obscene. Thinking how quick I'm driving, there's absolutely no way that I don't think about. That one with some setup, I reckon I can get closer to. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in the next session. Data that I had was from the apps within Assetto Corsa. Now the thing is, this is Virtual Race Car Engineer 2018. As it happens, I was using 2020, but I can't get that to work at the moment. It must be glitchy. I don't know what's wrong with it. It won't go to the next screen. So what you have to do initially on either of these, you have to put your tyre temperatures in here. You don't have to. You can have it enabled or enable it or not. This information comes from various apps within SimHub, or I'll be honest with you, I think it's the one I used within the game on Assetto Corsa. Quite tricky actually, because it's live data, so I'm not sure how you can drive around, look at the data, and remember it to put it in on here anyway. So it's a bit of a weird one. And when you pause the game, the apps disappear. They go, the SimHub apps pause in real time, so you can get the data from them. You can pull that data from SimHub as well, so it's not gone. But the ones within Assetto Corsa, like the one that does this, is not very helpful. So you kind of have to, well, either remember the numbers, fudge them, or try and take a picture of the screen, I suppose. Pause the game. You can't pause it. Stop on track, get your phone out, take a picture, and by then these numbers will drop. As soon as you stop the car, they sort of change. I'm not sure that's how real that would be, but anyway. Race advice filter. I might click that as well. So how did the car feel? So once you've entered your tyre data, you can, if you like, enter the lap times to keep an eye on where you're going. And then, for example, initially this was kind of the fault. You can then go through the recommendations. Increase front anti-roll bar or decrease the rear anti-roll bar. Basically, if you look at that, if you're not understanding about setup, anti-roll bar, if you stiffen the front of the car up, effectively that makes the car less, it won't turn in as much. So it depends where you are in the world. You'll either be tight or loose, understeer or oversteer. So if you stiffen the front up, you encourage the car. If the car's generally oversteer under power, or the rear end is sliding outwards, you could say that it could be the front is gripping too much. Increasing the anti-roll bar at the front will make the car tight, so it shouldn't grip as much. Or if you find that isn't working, you can decrease the rear anti-roll bar, which basically softens it up and gives more grip at the back, but it could encourage push or tight. So you have to sort of play around with that, and it's only worth doing one increment at a time, maybe two, but only on one. It's ideally only on one setting, so I wouldn't sort of necessarily go that one, and that one, because you won't know which one's actually working. Now, a lot of people would suggest that this is smoke and mirrors. So how on earth can they put all this setup into Assetto Corsa, and each increment makes a difference? Well, yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm only going by what I felt with the car. I'm not saying it all works. So yeah, so you can go, once you've got that, it might find it'll be something else. It might be general understeer. Put that in. and it'll come up again with some other settings that you might be able to do. I mean, you've set the car to circuit and open wheel, so it's going to be more focused on an open wheel single seater type of car. You can select or deselect downforce settings depending on what car you're using. Because I was using a Formula 1 car, I felt the need to click all the segments on there so you can do all the adjustability. But you basically work your way through this and do your laps, come back to this, put feedback in, try again. It is very long-winded, and I suggest that maybe you can't just do a lap. You have to do a span of, I did at least 8 to 10 laps, because you wanted to make sure that you were driving consistently and get used to the car again. If you go out and just do a lap and you're all over the place and you've got to put the consistency laps in. So that in itself is an improvement on your driving. I'm pretty sure that there's people that will get onto a sim, throw the car on the track, and they'll go around miles quicker than me. This isn't really about trying to get to alien-like level. There's no way there's absolutely no way I'm going to be that quick, because I don't feel that I'm on that level. I just enjoy sim racing. So because I don't really play online that often, I'm just trying to make games that I play more enjoyable, if I'm honest. And this is no better way to spend a weekend titifating around with data. So yeah, I hope you can get some enjoyment out of this. I've kind of shown you what I do. It's not the only way, but it all helps. Some of the setup changes, even though I've been involved in real life motorsport for many years, it's just nice to refresh yourself on what things do and how to do it. It's a lot easier on these to click a button and it changes, other than lying under a car and actually doing it, I can assure you. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a bit more informative, and hopefully we'll get some more sessions in to increase the speed and get ever closer to the real life lap time. I'll let you know how I get on. I'll see you on track.